In our daily lives, we often face many choices, countless distractions, and not a few temptations that leave our minds weary. Sometimes we start something with great enthusiasm, but after a short while, we let it go, losing motivation. Sometimes we truly wish to change ourselves, to live better, yet we keep going in circles, repeating old patterns. It is in such moments that the teachings of the Buddha on right effort shine like a guiding lamp, showing us the way to preserve, nurture, and develop the seeds of goodness in our hearts, while also knowing how to let go of the habits and actions that bring suffering. Right effort, simply put, is the right kind of perseverance, steady and mindful effort that is neither forced nor extreme. It is not a rigid striving that exhausts body and mind, nor is it a careless surrender to indifference. It is effort guided by wisdom and compassion, so that each day we live with more meaning, more ease, and a sense of true peace. When we understand and practice right effort correctly, we not only transform ourselves but also radiate happiness and calm to those around us. Throughout his journey, the Buddha often reminded his disciples that no true achievement appears overnight. Just like a seed, if planted in the soil and then abandoned, it will hardly sprout and grow strong. But if we patiently water it, remove weeds, and shelter it from storms, the seed will slowly grow into a flourishing tree. Right effort is this very act of caring, but for our inner life, it requires patience, persistence, and gentleness, yet it brings the sweet fruit of inner peace. When speaking of right effort, the Buddha pointed to 4 essential aspects: preventing unwholesome states from arising, letting go of unwholesome states that have already arisen, cultivating wholesome states that have not yet arisen, and strengthening wholesome states that are already present. These are not just principles for monks in monasteries or for those who live far away from society. They are deeply relevant for all of us, whether we are students, workers, parents, or anyone navigating everyday challenges. Because in each day of living, we are always offered a choice: to hold on to a habit that brings more suffering, or to release it and live more lightly, to nurture a positive thought, or to let the mind drift into worries and negativity. Right effort is a reminder that we can choose, and that these choices shape the quality of our lives. Imagine sitting in a garden. If left unattended, weeds will soon take over, leaving no room for flowers to bloom. But with regular care, watering, removing weeds, letting sunlight in, the garden will thrive in beauty and freshness. Our mind is just like that garden. Right effort is the gardener's work within ourselves, creating space for the flowers of kindness, wisdom, and compassion to blossom, replacing the weeds of anger, greed, or confusion. In today's world, filled with busyness, technology's pull, and constant pressures, the practice of right effort is more necessary than ever. It reminds us that we don't need to make grand gestures to walk the path of transformation. Simply being more mindful each day, choosing a wholesome action instead of a harmful one, nurturing a positive thought instead of a complaint, offering a smile instead of a frown. These are already steps on the path of right effort. Right effort doesn't begin with changing the entire world. It begins with small acts within ourselves, in our homes, at work, on the streets we walk. And it is these small, patient, persistent steps that together create a great journey toward genuine peace, and waiting with trust. It is precisely these small, consistent actions that allow the garden to flourish. If we carry the mindset of finishing everything in a single day, we will quickly burn out and give up. That is why right effort is the art of applying just enough energy in the right direction and keeping it steady through time. The Buddha taught that there are 4 ways to practice right effort. The first is to prevent unwholesome states from arising. In life, there are times when anger has not yet appeared, but we know that if we continue dwelling on what we dislike, irritation will soon flare up. If we are mindful from the very beginning, we can stop that anger before it has a chance to take root. This is part of right effort, the vigilance to care for the mind before harmful seeds have the chance to sprout. The second is to let go of unwholesome states that have already arisen. Sometimes we may have already become upset, or sadness or envy has already taken hold. What we need is not endless self-blame, but recognition and release. We can take a deep breath, give ourselves a pause, and allow the mind to settle down. It is like finding weeds in the garden. We do not regret or get angry at them. We simply and patiently pull them out. Letting go does not mean denial, it means acknowledging their presence, but choosing not to let them stay and spread. The third is to cultivate wholesome states that have not yet arisen. Within us, there are seeds of kindness, gratitude, and compassion, though they may still be dormant. With right effort, we consciously create conditions for these seeds to awaken. For example, instead of focusing only on difficulties, we can write down a few things we are grateful for. Instead of staying distant, we can offer a simple smile to a stranger. These small gestures are ways of watering and calling forth the good seeds inside us. The fourth is to strengthen wholesome states that are already present. If we already have the habit of reading, we can continue and deepen it. If we already care for our family, we can add more patience, more listening, so that love grows stronger. Just like a young tree that has sprouted, it needs steady watering and protection to grow into a strong tree. Right effort reminds us not to neglect the good qualities we already have, but to nourish them until they become a great source of strength in our lives. In short, right effort is the balance between prevention and letting go, between cultivation and development. It is a continuous, ongoing process, as natural as breathing in and out each day. With practice, our lives gradually become clearer and lighter. We no longer get swept away by negative emotions for too long, and we no longer miss the chance to nurture the small joys in each moment. Practicing right effort is not something distant or abstract, it appears in ordinary daily situations. While standing in line at the store, instead of growing restless and irritated, we can use that time to breathe and smile. When work feels overwhelming, instead of being carried away by pressure, we can pause for a few minutes to close our eyes, rest, and return with more clarity. When meeting loved ones, instead of starting with complaints, we can begin with words of encouragement. These simple acts are living examples of right effort at work in everyday life. In modern life, we are easily swept up by a fast pace, constant work, and endless pressure. That is why the practice of right effort is more important than ever. It is like a compass that helps us find direction amid distractions. With right effort, we know what is worth doing, what is better to let go of, and how to keep our minds from becoming overly exhausted. At work, many people believe that they must compete endlessly, pushing themselves at any cost to succeed. But if we look carefully, we can see that excessive striving without wisdom often leads to stress, burnout, and even the loss of joy in living. Right effort teaches us that effort in the right direction matters more than effort in large amounts but going the wrong way. For example, instead of focusing only on speed, we can focus on doing tasks with care and precision. Instead of thinking only about the result, we can learn to enjoy each step of the process. When we work with such a spirit, not only is the outcome good, but our minds also feel lighter and less pressured. In family life, right effort helps us nurture happiness in small, everyday moments. We often wait for big occasions, a vacation, a gift, a special event, to feel joy. Yet true happiness is present in simple things: a shared meal, a kind question, a moment of genuine listening. With right effort, we try to preserve and water these simple joys rather than overlook them in pursuit of something far away. A thank you, a smile, a gentle touch, they may seem small, but they are powerful sources of wholesome energy for the whole family. In learning, the same principle applies. A successful student is not only someone with natural intelligence, but someone who makes steady, skillful effort. If we study with the mindset of racing or competing with others, we will soon become weary. But if we study with curiosity, with the patience to move forward step by step, we will find joy in gaining knowledge. Right effort in learning means avoiding laziness, but also not forcing ourselves to the point of overload. It means consistency, learning a little each day, with focus and enjoyment. In social relationships, right effort also plays an essential role. We can easily get caught in unnecessary words, small conflicts, or habits of comparing and competing. With right effort, we choose to nurture kind speech, to listen more than argue, to empathize instead of judge. When we make the effort to grow wholesome actions in relationships, our connections with others become warmer and more lasting. What matters most is that right effort is not a burden but a practice that brings joy. It does not demand immediate, drastic change. Instead, it gently reminds us to be patient with small steps. Some days we may stumble, other days we may succeed. What matters is that we do not give up. but return again and again to steady, mindful effort. Living in the spirit of right effort, we begin to realize that happiness does not need to be chased far away. It is already here, in each moment, in each breath, in each choice we make. And it is this wholesome effort that helps us be fully present in the now. See more clearly what is truly precious, and taste peace right in the midst of ordinary life. Within each of us, there are times when heavy emotions arise: sadness, worry, anger, or disappointment. This is a natural part of being human. The real issue is not whether we have such emotions, but how we face and transform them. If left unchecked, negative emotions can take over our minds, coloring the way we see life and making it heavier than it really is. But with the practice of right effort, we can find gentle ways to walk through these emotions. When anger arises, right effort reminds us to pause, take a deep breath in, and slowly release it. Anger is like a flame. If we pour fuel on it, it will blaze fiercely. But if we know how to let go and nourish calmness, the flame will naturally die down. This is right effort in letting go of what is unwholesome once it has appeared. Instead of allowing anger to dictate our actions, we learn to return and take care of the emotion, like a mother gently soothing her crying child. When anxiety shows up, right effort teaches us not to let the mind drift endlessly into an uncertain future. We return to the present moment, where we are still breathing, where we can still take one step at a time. Each time we breathe slowly and mindfully, we are nourishing wholesome energy to face worry. We do not need to erase it immediately, but with effort, we prevent it from becoming a dark cloud covering our entire life. For sadness, right effort encourages us not to deny or pretend it doesn't exist. Sadness is also part of life, but we can care for it with gentleness. We might take a walk in nature, listen to soft music, or share our feelings with a trusted friend. These small actions, when practiced with effort, can slowly melt sadness away, leaving behind a sense of peace in the heart. One important application of right effort is replacing harmful reactions with wholesome actions. For example, when we notice ourselves sinking into blame, we can try writing down 3 good things we already have. When we feel like giving up, we can recall times we have overcome difficulties before. When we are caught in negative thinking, we can take a few minutes to breathe, or simply look up at the blue sky. These are practical ways to cultivate wholesome qualities and gradually transform suffering. Right effort does not mean we will never suffer again. Suffering remains a natural part of life, but with steady effort, we learn how to walk with suffering without being consumed by it. Just like a person walking in the rain with a raincoat, we cannot stop the rain, but we can keep ourselves safe and dry. Every time we transform even a little bit of negative emotion, we are making our hearts stronger and clearer. That is the true fruit of right effort, not a perfect life without difficulties, but the ability to keep our minds steady in the midst of change. One of the wonderful gifts of right effort is its ability to help us discover joy right in the present moment. Normally, we tend to place happiness somewhere in the future, when we earn enough money, when we finish our work, when we achieve our goals. Only then do we allow ourselves to feel happy. But life is always changing, and what we expect may never come exactly as we imagine. If we keep waiting, we may miss countless simple joys that are already here. Right effort reminds us that happiness is available in each breath, in each step, and in the most ordinary details of life. When we drink a sip of water, if we truly pause and notice, we can feel the coolness as a gift. When we walk slowly down the street in the morning, if we are attentive, we can hear the birds singing, feel the breeze on our skin, and realize that we are alive, fully present. These seemingly small moments are, in fact, the very places where true happiness arises. Practicing right effort in the present does not mean abandoning the future or forgetting responsibilities. It simply means not letting the mind be pulled endlessly into the past or the future. Losing this very moment, someone who cooks with full presence, caring for each movement, is already practicing right effort. A mother holding her child with complete attention in that moment is also planting seeds of happiness. In today's world, we are often scattered by phone screens, by news, by endless tasks. This makes it easy to lose touch with the present, but with right effort, we can train ourselves to pause, to take a deep breath, and to notice where we are and what we are doing. Even a few short seconds like this can restore balance and bring calm to the heart. Joy in the present is not a noisy excitement but a quiet peace. a gentle ease, and a deep sense of gratitude. It is when we recognize that we still have a home to return to, loved ones to share with, legs to walk on, and eyes to see the world. What seems ordinary is, in truth, a miracle we often forget. Right effort helps us open our eyes to these miracles in each moment. When we learn to enjoy the present, we no longer feel pressured to chase happiness somewhere far away. Happiness does not reside only in big achievements that have yet to come. It is in every moment we are living now. And it is through the steady, mindful practice of right effort that we sustain the ability to see and touch this happiness each day. We often have the tendency to want results right away. When we start a new habit, we expect to see change after only a few days. When we try a new practice, we hope to quickly find success. But in reality, all growth and transformation take time, just as a seed needs months to sprout and grow into a strong tree. If we are too impatient, we may give up before we have a chance to see the fruits. Right effort reminds us that perseverance is the key. Even a single small step, if taken consistently each day, will eventually cover even the longest journey. One mindful breath each day, one friendly smile, one moment of letting go of anger, though small, when accumulated over time, these create a powerful force for transformation. Imagine a stream of water trickling over a rock. At first, nothing seems to change, but over the years, that steady flow carves a path, creating a stream bed. In the same way, steady effort gradually reshapes long-standing habits and opens new pathways in the heart. In daily life, there are times when we feel tired, feel we are not progressing, or even feel like giving up. This is natural. What matters is not staying stuck in disappointment, but gently returning to small but steady efforts. Perhaps today we only accomplish a little, but tomorrow we continue, like climbing a mountain. If we only stare at the peak, it feels overwhelming, but if we pause to rest, enjoy the scenery along the way, and keep walking step by step, we will eventually reach the top. The power of right effort does not lie in bursts of enthusiasm, but in the ability to sustain practice over time. A large fire may burn brightly for a moment but will soon die out. A small lamp, kept steady, can shine through the whole night. Right effort is like that. It does not need to explode, it only needs to endure. When we cultivate perseverance through right effort, we begin to see real change within ourselves. Our minds feel lighter, our relationships become more harmonious, and we sense a stable peace within. This is not the result of sudden achievement, but the ripe fruit of steady and ongoing effort. When we practice right effort, not only do we enjoy peace within ourselves, but those around us also feel the positive energy it brings. A person who knows how to keep a calm heart brings tranquility to the whole family. A person who nurtures wholesome actions becomes an example for friends and colleagues. Our steady effort, though quiet, carries a powerful ripple effect. In the family, when someone can restrain anger and replace it with listening and understanding, the atmosphere in the home shifts. Others also learn to become calmer and more patient. When we make the effort to plant seeds of kind speech, our children sense it and imitate it. Family happiness is built this way, not from grand gestures, but from small daily efforts. At work, when we make the effort to maintain a positive attitude, colleagues feel more at ease and more motivated. A person who perseveres and does not give up in difficulty becomes a source of inspiration for the whole team. Right effort in the workplace not only helps us progress, but also gives the group more confidence and steadiness. In social relationships, the energy of right effort spreads in the same way. When we greet others with a genuine smile, when we face conflict with calmness, we are planting seeds of peace in the community. Others may not yet practice as we do, but they can feel the difference and gradually draw inspiration from it. We may think our effort is too small in this vast world. Yet in truth, small efforts, when kept steady and shared, can create great change. A single drop of water cannot form a river, but countless drops together make an ocean. A single candle may light only a small space, but it can light many more candles. Right effort is not only our personal journey, but also a gift we offer to others. Each time we hold calmness, we add peace to the environment around us. Each time we persevere in goodness, we give strength to those who need hope. And through this ripple effect, we in our communities gradually build lives that are more harmonious, meaningful, and enduring. One of the deepest fruits of right effort is the freedom of the heart. When we do not yet know how to practice right effort correctly, we are easily bound by old habits, negative thoughts, or overwhelming emotions. We may become slaves to anger, to anxiety, or to endless desires. But when we patiently practice right effort, we gradually loosen those chains and allow the mind to become freer. Inner freedom is not something far away, it appears in the smallest choices we make each day. When we choose to smile instead of frown, we free ourselves from the heaviness of irritation. When we choose to forgive instead of clinging to resentment, we open a vast space within the heart. When we choose a simple life, knowing what is enough instead of chasing endless ambition, we create true freedom for ourselves. Some people may have all the material comforts, yet their hearts remain restless and worried. Others may live simply but carry a light and peaceful spirit. The difference is not in circumstances but in the ability to practice right effort. When the mind knows how to nourish wholesome qualities and release unwholesome ones, it gradually escapes the grip of suffering. Inner freedom is when we are no longer carried away by circumstances. Even in difficulties, we can remain calm enough to find solutions. Even when faced with others' negativity, we can hold our peace and not be dragged into it. This is the power of right effort. It builds a solid foundation that allows us to stand steady in the midst of change. With inner freedom, we can truly enjoy life. We no longer need to wait for perfect conditions, or for everything to go our way, in order to be happy. Happiness comes from the choices of the heart, and right effort is the path that leads us to that ability. Every step of right effort is a step out of bondage and a step closer to genuine freedom, the kind of freedom that no one can take away. Because it does not depend on what is outside, but arises from deep within us. Lasting happiness is not a fleeting emotion but a state of peace nurtured from within. Many times, we think happiness lies in big things, a remarkable success, a large fortune, or a perfect relationship. But if we rely only on such things, happiness is often short-lived, because they can change at any moment. In truth, lasting happiness comes from patiently cultivating wholesome qualities in our hearts and actions each day. Right effort is the bridge that leads us to this kind of happiness. Each time we prevent unwholesome states, let go of harmful ones, nurture wholesome qualities, and strengthen them, we are planting seeds of true happiness. These seeds do not bloom right away, but over time, they grow into a garden of peace within the soul. In daily life, the sustainability of happiness does not come from temporary pleasures, but from the ability to keep the mind steady in the midst of storms. With right effort, we learn not to be swept away by negative emotions, not to be shaken by circumstances, and to always return to nurturing what is good. This becomes the foundation for long-lasting peace. We can say that right effort is the path to building happiness as if building a strong house. We do not only decorate the outside, we focus on laying a solid foundation. Once the foundation is firm, the house stands strong even in wind and rain. In the same way, when right effort becomes a daily habit, the happiness within us cannot easily be disturbed by the ups and downs of life. Another beautiful truth is that lasting happiness does not only nourish ourselves but also radiates to others. When we live with steady effort, we offer the world the energy of peace, kindness, and compassion. These energies contribute to creating a wholesome environment where happiness can grow together. For this reason, right effort is not only a personal practice but also a shared gift. When each of us walks this path, happiness does not stop with one individual but becomes lasting happiness for the whole community. Looking back at the whole journey of exploring right effort, we can see that it is not just a concept or theory, but an art of living, a way to care for and transform our inner life day by day. From preventing and letting go of unwholesome states, to cultivating and strengthening wholesome ones, right effort embraces the entire process of practice and of living happily. In work, right effort helps us act with care and enjoy each step instead of being pressured by the outcome. In family life, it nurtures simple happiness through small gestures. In learning, it supports steady progress without exhaustion. In relationships, it allows us to plant seeds of kindness and understanding in the community. In facing emotions, it helps us transform anger, anxiety, and sadness into opportunities for growth. And more deeply, right effort opens the door to inner freedom and lasting happiness. We could say that right effort is the steady nurturing of light within the heart. so that this light not only shines on ourselves but also on those around us. Each time we choose a wholesome action, each time we patiently let go of an unhelpful habit, we are building a better world. To practice right effort in daily life, we don't need to do anything grand. We can begin with very small things. Spend a few minutes each day breathing slowly and being fully aware of the present. Smile more often, both to ourselves and to others. Learn to recognize emotions and choose a gentle response. Write down a few things we are grateful for each day to nourish peace in the heart. Maintain a small wholesome habit with persistence, such as reading, exercising, or speaking a kind word. With steady practice, right effort will gradually become a natural part of our lives. We will realize that happiness is no longer something far away but is present in each mindful moment. And perhaps, the most precious gift of right effort is faith, faith that we can change. That we can cultivate a more peaceful life. Faith that through small but steady efforts, we can walk firmly on the path of happiness. In the end, right effort is not a distant goal but a close companion in every moment. If we nurture this spirit each day, we will find ourselves freer, more at peace, and contributing to a brighter world around us.